By now, you have learned what the slight edge is all about, how it can work for you or against you. You have also read about the importance of doing the little things every day that don't seem like a big deal, but are a big deal, seem insignificant tasks done daily that add up to success. You have also learned how I have implemented the slight edge philosophy into my life and how it has been the core foundation for my success. And by now, you have perused through some of the stories of the slight edge readers, people from all walks of life, whose lives have changed by adhering to the slight-edged philosophy. I am overwhelmed and humbled each and every time I read about how ordinary people are now living extraordinary lives, just by adding a few daily disciplines to their daily regimen. As I pore over the thousands of notes and letters we have received over the years, I began to see a pattern of certain principles these people followed that are a part of the slight edge philosophy, principles that I have taught in some form over the years, but have never put down on paper until now. I was able to isolate 7 specific and actionable principles that you can apply right now and use as a guidepost as you head into the next part of the book. Before you can master the slight edge in your own life, you need a game plan to guide you along the way. No one show up. Hope begins in the dark, the stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait and watch and work. You don't give up. Anne Lamott, Woody Allen, the famous playwright, once said that 80% of success is showing up. I am one that subscribes to this philosophy wholeheartedly. You have already won half the battle if you will commit to showing up every day. The rest is left up to skill, knowledge, drive, and execution. The story of Jorge Diaz epitomizes the importance of showing up every day, no matter the circumstances. Today, he is a professional boxer who, in November 2010, defended his featherweight crown in Atlantic City and has a record of 15-0 as of this printing. Not bad for a kid who grew up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in New Jersey. After reading The Slight Edge in 2006, he said the book changed his philosophy and approach to the sport of boxing. Here is a short segment of his story. I have been boxing since I was 11. I am from a tough neighborhood and had very young parents who were struggling financially. So we didn't have money for a boxing trainer to spend one-on-one time with me. But I applied the slight edge principles and showed up to the gym to practice every single day. Nothing could stop me from showing up. For years, I would lose at finals or walk away with a bronze. More often than not, I lost in the finals of national events. Even when I was upset from losing, I firmly believed in the slight edge principles and the compounding of my efforts. 10 years later, I am now starting to see the fruits of my labor and am currently the featherweight champion with a record of 15-0. Now that I am a little older and wiser, I firmly believe at a greater level in all the philosophies of the slight edge. I have learned how to use my past as a tool to help make my ride to the future a little easier. I firmly believe that if I keep my simple daily routine consistent, with nothing fancy, just keep refining my craft, and keep swimming in the bucket of milk, I know that it will turn into butter. Wow. Jorge had every excuse not to show up to the gym every day, but he did it anyway because he knew that by doing the little things every day, it would eventually give him the strength, discipline, and smarts to bring him the featherweight championship. Congratulations, Jorge, on your success. I had the distinct pleasure of teaching this principle to my daughter Amber when she achieved her lifelong goal of becoming a theater at the University of Florida. For those who know me, there is no bigger fan of this school. I had spent my daughter's early years giving her not-so-subtle hints as to where she should go. When the time came to choose a college, I guess my prodding worked. It was at her freshman orientation when I was able to share with Amber the importance of showing up. We, along with thousands of other incoming freshmen and their parents, were sitting in the audience when the Dean of Students announced from the podium that they had 6,700 incoming freshmen that year. Of that group, the average GPA was a 4.0. The SAT scores were in the top 10% of the nation. Intimidating words, to say the least. I wasn't sure if he was trying to motivate or scare them. Amber, I was afraid, was feeling the latter. This would be her first true competition since high school, where she also averaged a 4.0 GPA. But she knew that her natural talents that got her to the top of her high school class may not be enough to give her an upper hand in college. To ease her anxiety, we went out to dinner, and the first question out of her mouth, before we ever sat down was, "Dad, I'm going up against the best of the best. What am I going to do to get an edge on my classmates?" Calmly but surely, I said to her, "It's going to be so easy to beat these students." Amber rolled her eyes and was a little worried about what she was getting herself into. What I shared with her were some simple philosophies that would lay the foundation for her college career. I said, "First off, you can beat half of these kids simply by showing up." Sounds too easy, right? I could tell Amber was still a little confused by the simplicity of my statement. But I wasn't done. I told her, "If you will also go to every single class, even when those around you will pressure you to stay home, you will beat half these students by outlasting them." I could tell things were starting to click a little in her mind. Amber was already used to going to school every day in high school. This was something she could do. She did it for 4 years in high school. I could tell by the look on her face she was starting to believe me. But the lesson had just begun. No. 2. Be consistent. In baseball, my theory is to strive for consistency, not to worry about the numbers. If you dwell on statistics, you get short-sighted. If you aim for consistency, the numbers will be there at the end. Tom Seaver, showing up is important, but its natural companion, consistency, is what makes it a powerful duo. Showing up consistently is where the magic happens. I told Amber she not only needed to show up every day for school, but it had to be coupled with at least 2 hours of study per day. Again, this was something Amber already knew how to do from high school that had led her to a 4.0 GPA. From my own experience, I know how easy it is to get caught up in the vicious cycle of cramming for tests. My advice to her was to leave that to the others. This lesson also came with a disclaimer. These things, though easy to do, were also very easy not to do. She would be challenged by roommates and other friends to skip class for other campus activities that I know are all part of the college experience. I could tell she was starting to get what I was saying, but could it be that simple, just to show up every day for class and study for 2 hours a day? The first sign of success came 3 weeks later, when Amber called and said, "Dad, remember that class I have with 400 students in it? Well, there are only 80 people who come now, so what could have happened in 3 weeks?" Amber said they hadn't had a test yet, so no one could have flunked out. In less than 3 weeks, 75% of her class was gone. I told her to just keep showing up and to study for 2 hours a day. 4 years later, right on time, Amber graduated at the very top of her business class, just by doing those 2 simple things. Easy principles that, applied daily, can yield fabulous results. Amber wasn't any better or smarter than the other kids. They were the cream of the crop, top-notch students. But Amber had one distinct advantage the others didn't. She had a philosophy that drove her to stay on course, even when everyone else was doing the opposite. She showed up consistently and succeeded because she had a simple philosophy that she applied every day, rain or shine. Consistency yields results. I am a big sports fan, and sports always make wonderful metaphors for life. The lessons from sports are many and are used frequently when I speak to large audiences. One of them is the importance of consistency. 2. Be a great football team. Not only do you have to practice every day, but practicing includes running the same plays over and over again, until everyone gets them right. So all that is left is the execution. Head baseball coach and the slight edge reader, Russell Stockton of Houston, knows firsthand how constant repetition pays off for his team. In his 20 years as a head baseball coach, mostly at smaller colleges, he never had the luxury of landing a blue-chip recruit for his team. To equal the playing field a few years ago, he instilled the slight edge principles into his coaching philosophy, and it has produced amazing results, earning him a conference title and a trip to the NCAA regional tournament for the first time in 10 years. Stockton has also been very successful in getting his team to buy into mastering the simple fundamentals of the game. In a letter he sent us, he tells of one pitcher who wasn't expected to break into the starting rotation at the beginning of the season but ended up being one of the most valuable players on his team come playoff time. Here is his story. I was a new assistant coach at the university and was assigned to the pitchers. The head coach gave me the rundown on all the guys and told me who to spend the most time with. This one player, we will call Tom, he told me not to spend much time with him, as he was a... Thank you so much for watching. Truly, the fact that you stayed until the end of this video says something important about you.